Welcome, Lockdown Workshop. Right, just cleaning a load of silicone grease off the work surface here. I know, tidy. Yuck. So just cleaning down after the last patient. It's like being in a vet, so you have to clean off your table before the next patient comes in. Right, we're going to do a simple one now. I've got this in, I wasn't even going to bother videoing it because it's so simple what needs doing to it. Let me just shift my props out the way from behind there so you can't see what's going on. Silicone lube. Oh, ceramic bearings. You won't know what they're for, you'll have to watch one of the other videos. Right, so let's have a look what we've got here then. Have you been on all this time? You were on. I thought I'd turn you off. Right, probably remember to clip that bit out. If not, sorry about jiggling the thing around. So, yeah, as I was saying, I wasn't going to bother doing a video on this because it's so simple what needs doing. It's coming for a check over. Nothing special. The bike's really well looked after. This is Anne's bike. She's had this bike as long as I've known Anne. So even when I first started going to the club, and I think Anne started a bit after me, she had this bike. It was made up by a friend of hers. I bet you've never even heard of this make of bike. My favourite ever cycling top that I had was a Saab racing team. So Saab were a racing team, as I seem to remember, and they had some Saab bikes, but I think they went bankrupt, and they're one of those firms that when they went bankrupt, they got all the stock and the name got bought out by Planet X or On One, or Holdsworth as they're sometimes known today. So it was the Dave from Sheffield who went up buying up all the famous bike brands that had gone bust and buying up all their stock and then selling them through Planet X. I think that's where it come from. I could be wrong. The reason I say that is because he had a ton of Saab kit for sale, and jerseys and stuff like that, and I bought one. It was my favourite top. I loved it. It was all in these colours, mainly blue but a bit of yellow and stuff, and Saab written all over it. All the sponsorship and logos, everything all over it, because these are what the bike would have been built up with. Campagnolo, Luke pedals, Salitalia saddles, stuff like that. But what Dave tended to do was sell off all the components and then put on his stock set of stuff. So I don't know if this was built up by Planet X or whether it was built up by Anne's friend at the time, because Selkoff would certainly have been the Planet X finishing kit at the time, but it's got a white stem on it, which that's more of a mountain bike thing. There's a couple other bits that are slightly off. I think it's got 105 group set, Ultegra brakes. You know, there's a few things that don't quite add up on it, but it doesn't matter. It's a really nice bike, and for its time, it was really far ahead. And I mean, you know, it was up there. You know, it was on a par like most of the other bikes, even though these frames are sort of 2 or 3 years older than the first. If you know the Planet X history, they kind of came to the front by selling the first carbon frame with a decent group set, an Ultegra group set for under £1,000. And that was their selling point. So you had a really good, really well made, agile, strong carbon frame with a really good group set on it for £1,000, which if you spent £1,000 on a Specialized with a carbon frame, you'd get flipping Altus, you know, group set on it, or Sora if you were lucky, to keep the price down. So they were really sort of pitching themselves, and they had a lot of success. They only kind of failed when they started either play silly beggars with, well, I won't go into it because but those who know what went on with it, which is a shame because they were a really good, really good company when they first started off. They just kind of lost their way a bit. But anyway, this one's back in, enough of the history on it. We're just waffling, aren't we? This was supposed to be a quick one. So what are we going to do today? So normally I just whip the wheels off and I do this and I do that and I don't really talk much about it, but there's probably a lot of people out there that don't know this stuff and you know, are absolutely terrified to take their wheels off. So what we're going to do today is we're kind of going to do a how-to video. Now what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to switch round here because the light is really bad because it's coming in through the bifold doors. Check me out with me posh doors. So we're going to switch it around. We'll put the bike over there. We'll switch the work surface around. And we'll get some close-up shots of what you need to do to take a wheel off a bike. So if you're out and you've got a puncher, I can show you what you need to do to take the wheel off the bike. We'll take a tyre off. And then I'm not going to puncture a tyre and stick a patch on it. Next time I have to fix one, I'll do it. But I can at least show you how to change a tyre, get the wheel off, what things to check for on the wheel, because don't assume the wheel's right when you take it off. The amount of times I take wheels off and find bits missing, bits on the wrong way round. I'll show you how to do the brakes and do all that kind of stuff, and to make sure that they're centered up again afterwards, and some tips and tricks, particularly around taking back wheels off with derailleurs. Right, so that's the plan. It's a really basic how-to video. Let's see if I can string this out for more than half an hour. Check out my coffee machine. That needs bloody cleaning. Yeah, sorry, the kitchen area is in a bit of a mess. So this, as you know, is my, you don't normally get to see this side of it. Don't like my kitchen. This is just a little kitchenette that's in the room I use for my office and my consulting room for triathlon and for clean bike bits. So for some stuff I really can't be bothered to go and move the motor home and get into the garage, and it's not worth it. This bike's clean. I haven't had to clean it first. So what's up with this bike? So let's zoom you in. Right. You probably can't see it from back there and I can't be bothered to move you. So these are gator skins. Really, really popular with a lot of people, these things. I'm not going to say anything. They are supposed to be fairly puncture resistant. People who use them absolutely swear by them, and as soon as you say what tyre do you want, they go, I want another set of them. They are quite pricey. So I think they are about between, if you get a non-folding one, they are between £30 and £40 per tyre. I think I paid 36 for these. I shopped around, that was the cheapest I could get them. I think Decathlon was fairly close, but then they chucked on a load of delivery costs, and when I actually picked the size I wanted, they were more expensive. So when you're doing the gut searches, it'll come up with the beaded tyre, and then when you go in, the folding tyre is a lot more expensive. But then I thought, well, actually, she doesn't need a folding tyre. These are going straight on anyway, they're not going in a backpack. So we might as well just stick on the beaded ones. They are easier to sit, they're easier to get on and off when she's at the side of the road. So, and they're between £5 and £10 cheaper. Weight wise, very little difference. The benefit of folding tyres is they look like, I'd show you, but I can't find it. Where's that gone? I had a brand spanking new folding tyre in there. Oh, it's here. Right, that's a tyre in a box. Let me turn the screen around so I can see what's going off. My focus still pointing at. Right, so there you go. That's a tyre in a box. Right. With a bit of careful packing, you can get that into your backpack. That is two beaded tyres folded up, but even if it was one, it'd still be about the same size. let's just tear into this and have a look at what we've got. So these are 25s, Continentals, genuine Continental, 25, 622 trim. Somebody's kindly tied them up for me. Oh, squeeze. You didn't see that. There you go. You ain't going to put them in your backpack, are you? So we'll just let them settle down for a bit. But no, they're a decent tyre, they're nice, they're fairly solid. What's gone wrong with these is they've been on there quite a while. All the rolling surface is cracked. The back wheel is down almost to the wear surface, the front wheel isn't. The sidewall's starting to go, it's actually furry. The back wheels doesn't feel as bad as the front wheel. The front wheel's really furry, and the tread, the whole surface is really cracked. There's loads and loads and loads of nicks in that. So we're going to show you them, so you know what you're looking for. I don't know when you stopped recording, when you didn't then. Right, so we were just looking at the wear indicators and the nicks. So those are the wear indicators. There's one there, there's one there. There's actually quite a bit of wear left on these, but I don't know if you can see, it's all cracked. There's a big nick there. And we were just going around looking at all the nicks. It's all cracked, all that's crazed and cracked. Right, so there's a risk that things are going to go in through the cracks and puncture your tyre, even though they've got a puncture guard. There's a big nick there, and I can actually feel it's bowed out. So there's either something in there, or it's actually cut through one of the bands and the tyre's starting to do that. So the edges go in, and I can feel a couple of lumps as well. So this one's worse than the back one, but the back one's more worn on the wear indicators. So that's all you're looking for. Now sometimes they have a little arrow at the side, but because all the white writing's worn off, you can't see it. But normally they'd have a little arrow that says wear indicator on some tyres, and that's all you're looking for really. Sometimes they might have two wear indicators, but no, this one's just got the one. So that's where they are. They're just there. There might be something written on the other side. No, but there's a bulge on the other side as well. So yeah, it's gone, this tyre. It's past its best. So don't ride them if they're like this. They really do need replacing. They won't do you any favours. It's almost got the rubber compound's gone. It won't be as grippy. It'll be quite skittish. So we need to get that off. So how do you get it off? Let's do the front wheel first, because that's the easiest one. Let me reposition you slightly. Oops. Right, I think you can see the business end of the stuff. Right, so to take a wheel off, how do you take a wheel off? Let me get around this side so I can see what we're doing and I can see what I'm showing you. So there are two things to consider here. One, you need to get the axle off. Now most people are going to have road bikes, and you're going to have a quick release axle. This is a QR skewer, right? A lot of the newer bikes have got a through axle, but it's similar kind of process. If you've got disc brakes and it's a fairly new bike in the last 5 years, it's almost certain you've got a through axle. So that's a shaft. It's just like a big bolt. It goes through from one side to the other. All you do is unscrew it and you pull the whole thing out and the wheel drops down, right? That's slightly easier than what we've got here. So what we've got here is a quick release skewer, where it's an axle that sits in there with a skewer that goes through the middle of the axle, and there's effectively a nut on there and a bar through there. You undo it and it opens out and it allows the thing to drop down. Now, because this is a rim brake, there's a few considerations you need to make. One of them is that tyre is fatter than the braking surface of the rim, and because your brakes are going to be fairly close to that braking surface, they're not going to go past the tyre. So the clever people at the bike shop have thought this out. So you'll notice there's a lever on the side of your brake caliper, right? That's a quick release lever. So this is harking back to the days of BMX and things like that. I think they were the first ones to bring these in, because when BMX had these side levers, I think they're U-brakes or cantilever. Can't remember what they call these. I think they're U-brakes. No, they're not V-brakes. They might be U-brakes. Can't remember anyway. Doesn't make any difference. But these were popular on BMXs when all the road bikes had cantilever brakes or centre pull brakes. So they had a different mechanism for doing this. But basically, there's a little tab there. and you just flick it round until it can't go any further. Now these stop there. The new ones on the newer Ultegra and Dura-Race go all the way over. SRAM, that, they all have something similar. What you'll notice now is your brake calipers have spread out. Now if you still looks like you're not going to get the tyre past it, all you need to do is turn this knob here, because it's probably because somebody's wound it in because the pads are wearing out. So just turn that until it won't go any further, right? And then it will stop. I don't know why that's there. That should be around the other side. That should be round there. I think that's been put in the wrong place. Never mind. Right, so we've slackened off the brakes anyway. They've come out right. I can now see there's plenty of room to get that past. So how do you get the wheel off? So if you were a through axle, you just get your thing, turn it round, or on mountain bikes, you release that clip and then turn it and pull it all the way out. If you've got a Q-lock, basically just get your bike and throw it in the canal, because you ain't getting that out. Right, so if it says Q-lock on the side of that skewer there, sell it quickly. Watch the other video I've done, you'll know why. So undo that, right, you see it's still not coming out. So there's a legislation on bikes that say if you've got a quick release skewer like that, or bolts, not the centre pulls, not the through axles, because they're different, they don't have this problem. But what you've got to allow for is somebody's not tightened your bolts up properly, or you've forgotten to do it, right? There's some little hooks on the bottom of the fork that stop the wheel from falling through. Now in the older days of BMXs, we used to file them off because we were stupid. But if you turn up to a race and the race inspector inspects your bike, and it is a race, not a sportive, and you are missing them, your bike will be disqualified. So all the bikes in the Tour de France that have still got quick release skewers will have those on, right? So you need to get this past that. So the way to do it is you hold on to that nut and you just turn that anti-clockwise until it undoes that bolt, and you can just drop it out. Simple as that. Right, things to watch out for on here. Right, so you'll see that there's a couple of springs that keep this centered. So all this is just a cantilever. When you turn that down, it pinches this together so it grips the forks, right? It does not need to be done up tight. I see people cranking down on these and then they can't get them off. It only needs to be tight enough so it can't undo. It is not physically holding the wheel in place, right? It is a all it has to be is about 5 newtons, as if you're turning on a door, as if you're opening a door handle. That's all it needs. Does not need to be cranked down, right? It will not make it any stronger in the wheel. You are more likely to damage the skewer or not be able to get it out of your forks. Right, things to watch out for. So there's little springs here. I will show you what they look like. Don't be afraid of this. If you've got a turbo trainer, you will have to take these off. Right, these screws, these springs here, right, they must be little end to the axle, big end to the nut. It's very easy to remember. For one, if you put that on, it goes over the top of that. That's bad. So a lot of people think that's how it's supposed to go. It's not. That little stub there is what actually sits in the fork, right? So this needs to sit up against that, and then the little pocket in there. And the idea is it just keeps it centered, so when you're putting the wheel on, you just focus on getting the wheel in, and it keeps this out of the way. If it doesn't center, it's probably because one of your springs is knackered, or one of them's on the wrong way round, or one of them's missing. Mainly back wheels because of turbo trainers, because people lose the spring. I've got loads of them. While you've got it off, just check your bearings. Just twist it, feel it. Does it feel notchy? Does it run smooth? Now, I'm pretty sure these are, because these are the same axles that Planet X use on their wheels anyway. So even though it says Selkoff, these are exactly the same as the Planet X ones. So these have got a sealed bearing inside them. They do not have a, and I know that because I've just undone it with my fingers. Right, again, you can see it there. There's a bull race in there. If you think you've got loose bearings, don't undo it, right? If they are loose, you've got a problem. You need to watch one of my other videos about how you set up loose bearings. But again, these do not need to be tight because you are running on the center of the bull race. You're not pushing a cone into a set of bearings. Again, watch the other video, you don't really need to understand how that works. All you need to know is how to get the wheel off. So anyway, that's the wheel off. So what we're going to do with it now, going to get the tyre off. Let's get you set up for that. Right, we're back. So you need to let the air out of the tyre to get the tyre off. If it's already flat, happy days, but still do this just to make sure. Now in most cases that wasn't even done up. And that's not even, that's bent as well. Let's see if I can strain it out a bit. Yeah, that's about as good as we're going to get, I think. Right, so with these, this is what's called a Presta valve. So I'll bring you a bit closer so you can see. Stand behind it so you can see it. Hopefully it'll focus. Come on, focus, 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 focus. Come on. Don't focus on that, focus on there. There we go. Right, we got there in the end. No, we haven't. Come on. Right, so it's a Presta. You need to undo this little bit in the middle. And the reason to remember it's a Presta, to get the air out, you have to Presta it. Right, so you just press it up. And the air's coming out. Top tip actually, if we've got one of these on, undo it before you let the air out, because you might find you can't get it out. You don't actually need these on road bike wheels, because they're there to stop the inner tube disappearing. There you go. So just wind that down out of the way, make sure all the air's out of it. You can take that off if you want. Oops! Now we're going to get the tyre off. You back? Right, don't know what happened there. Right then, so we need to, right, tyre lever, that's a wheel glide. We'll show you how that works in the next video. Is this focusing properly? I hope so. I'm struggling to find a set of tyre levers. I wanted to show you tyre levers. I thought I'd got some in the bottom of this box, but it appears I've not. Have we got some in here? I thought I'd looked in here. Hold on, what's this? Is there a set of tyre levers in here? Nope. That's a plug kit, that's for tubeless. Best you don't look at that just yet, or it might scare the bejesus out of you. Have we got any in here? There's a pair of scissors there. I was looking for them earlier. Look in there. It's a bit of a bugger. I know where there'll be a set. Huh. That's thrown me. Oh, I know why. I moved it, it's under here. There we go. So, my mountain bike pack. The fanny pack for my mountain bike. Chuck that down behind there so you can't see it. There will be a set in here. There we go. Always have a good kit. Right. Let's show you what to do. I'm going to try and show you what to do. So pick a spot near a spoke, right? Stick your tyre lever in. This is going to be difficult because I'm doing it away from myself. Just hook it on like that. Nice and simple. Doesn't need to be any fun. Now these Continentals, they are a bit difficult. I think they're about the hardest of the non-tubeless tyres to get back on the rim. Though, I will show you it is possible to do it without a set of tyre levers. Right? Once you get this so far, and you've got a couple of these in, you should just be able to roll it round. That's it, we've got half of it off. Right, so find the valve again. Just lift the tyre over the valve, right, and take the valve out. Let's just get the inner tube out of the way now before we have any issues. So, good quality inner tube, that's a Continental. Chuck it over there. Now this bit, you should be able to get it off without a tyre lever. You can already see it's come over. The beads drop down into the centre of the rim and it's off. Right, this one is foobarred so it can go in the bin. So this is a folding rim. That does fold up. Folding bead. All right. Where's them scissors I just found? Don't. Boom. Right, there is a direction of travel. So, work out which way round your rim goes. So this sits on the bike this way round, the skewer's always on the non-drive side. Right, so that's the way to remember it. So this wheel turns that way round. So the direction of travel is that way. On the side of the tyre, somewhere there will be something that says rotation or direction of travel. Now the problem is with these is because of the sidewall, they are really difficult to read even when they're new and they're not all chewed up. It's a good job I know which way they do go, but I'm just trying to find it. You can tell by the tread pattern, which if you ride a motorcycle, there you go, it's there, rotation, that way. So there's an arrow, it says rotations that way, it goes that way. Now with a road bike, front wheel and back wheel, the point goes into the direction of travel. So if you've got a point on your tread going that way and that goes in the direction of travel, just in case you can't find that. On a motorbike, be very careful because the front wheel is the opposite way round. All right, so that's just a top tip. If you are a motorcyclist coming to road biking, don't start putting your wheels on the wrong way round. All right. I've lost the marker again now. Rotation, there you go. Right, so it's going that way round. You can see the points are going that way. Wheels on that way round. So it wants to go in that way. So what we're going to do is just drop it onto the rim. Should be easy to get one side in. There you go, it's on. Right, now we need to stick the inner tube back in. We need to do one thing first. Nope. Over here. Shameless. Get the inner tube. Now you could replace the inner tube, but I'll tell you now, there's nothing wrong with this. It wasn't stuck to the tyre. It's still got a nice coating on it. There's no signs of any holes or anything. It's not got fluid in it. If it had got fluid in it, I might have considered replacing it because the fluid will have gone off. So we just want a little bit of air in this now. Not a lot, just enough to make a little sausage so it holds itself up. Screw that back down. Bring this back up. Right, so find your hole. Locate your hole. Weird. They are light. These look like they're composite wheels, where they're aluminium with a carbon fibre overlay. Nice. Ah, hole. Yeah, they are, definitely. Right, anyway, so again, same thing again. Move the tyre rim out of the way towards the middle, drop the valve through the hole, make sure it goes all the way down and just let the tyre come over the top of it. Right, now gently put the tyre in. Try and get it so it's up and over the rim. Don't be stretching it, otherwise when you get around to the end you'll have a massive spare bit of tyre you don't need. What you can do is you can generally just sort of tuck it into the edge of the tyre first, so it's all nice, so you know you've got it nice and even, and then just use your fingers just to knock it up and over the edge of the rim. Right, you want to get it as close as much of it into the rim as possible. so none of it's hanging out. Just makes life easier for the next stage. Right, always start somewhere near the valve because it will make life easier. I will show you why. So get that in. You might have to shove that up out of the way just to let the bead drop down. More important for tubeless tyres, that one. So what we're going to do is just start pushing the bead over. Keep your thumb on there because otherwise that bit will start chasing you around. Right? So again, keep an eye on it. So you see there that the inner tube's popped out and it's got between the tyre and the rim. You don't want that because that's the most common cause of people causing a puncture when they're putting the tyre back on. So just make sure that the inner tube's kept out of the way and it's tucked back over the rim. Again, don't lose sight of that bit because it will start to chase you around and start feeding it over. You will get to a point though where you feel like you can't go any further and you'll be tempted to reach for your spoons or your tyre levers. Don't. So you should be able to do this without. So there's a trick. Just pinch your bead on both sides and make sure the bead gets into the rim. Remember how easy it was to get that first side on? That's because the bead was sat in the middle of the rim. So all you're trying to do is get the bead back in the middle of the rim. Now look at that, I've got another couple of inches there. Just make sure the inner tube's tucked out of the way. It's out of the way again, so just quickly go round, pinch everything up. You can follow it round if you want. You can put a bit of pressure on it as you move it round, just to wriggle it round. And you should find, there you go. I can go a little bit further. Now we're getting to the difficult bit, right? So again, all the way round, particularly paying attention to here. Make sure that's in. And again, we've gone over a little bit further. So just keep doing that, a little bit at a time, until you get to the last bit, and then all of a sudden it's off. These are the worst tyres to put on, right? I've been stood at the side of the road with people with these on and watched for ages. I'm trying to get them on with spoons, breaking in the tubes, right? You can do it. Did I use a spoon then? No. Right, all you've got to do is keep pinching the bead into the middle of the rim because it's lower down in the rim. The bead drops into the rim and gives you a little bit more room to wriggle it round, right? Let me go find that nut. I know we don't need it, but it's not my wheel. They've got them on. So we'll stick them back on if I can find it. There we go. So again, these should not be, they're not really supposed to be tight against your rim. So on a motorbike, you actually have one on the inside, one on the outside, and you just tighten them up, finger tight, and then just back it off slightly. So it's still loose, it's not gonna come undone, but there's enough room for it to settle itself down. You can adjust it when you put it on, never crank it down, because if you get a flat, you might find you can't get it out again. Right then, so we just need to stick some air in it now, and hopefully that should be it. Now, I can't really show you this because this ain't long enough to fit that. I don't think I'm going to be able to get the pressure I need into it. I better get enough to show you, I think. But the full... So these are 25s, so they're not tubeless. You want to be running these about 90 to 100 psi. In the summer, maybe 90, maybe a little under 90 in the winter. Remember, the lower you run them, the more chance you've got of pinch flats. So as it starts to go up, just make sure, give it a visual, make sure you've got an even line all the way around. So there's usually a line, a moulding line on the rim, and if you watch all the way around, you should see that it's the same distance all the way around, right? It's there. There, I can see it. All right, it's slightly in there, so we'll just give that a quick pull. I'll be honest, these are popping because they're really good quality tyres. If you've got cheap shit tyres, you might find you spend a lot of time doing these. If you're struggling, just take them up to about 100 psi, 110 psi, and you'll probably find they just pop out and go into the rim. Just be careful and check what your tyres are rated at, because some of the cheaper tyres will only go up to 110 psi. The better tyres will go up to 125. So I've had to take some tyres that were being particularly awkward up to 120 to get them to pop into the bead properly. But that one looks like it's all right, so we're just going to carry on pumping that one up, and I will bring you back when it's done and show you. Right, back again. So we're just going to give this a quick check just to make sure everything's seated nicely and that's running perfectly. So what you're looking for is any bits where the rim, the tyre's doing that or doing that, and that indicates that it's not sat in the bead properly. So that tyre is spot on. Let's just slide you back a bit. I don't like doing them things that, so that's okay, that's perfect. I don't know if you can see that. That has now gone away from the rim by about 3 mil. So just turn it back in. Don't tighten it up, because otherwise when that tyre goes flat, that's going to go back into the thing and grip that quite tight. So just make sure it's snugged up, it's not tight, not even finger tight, just snug it up to the rim. Make sure your cap's done up properly. God, that's awful, all the threads have gone in that. Stick a new one on. Bin. There we go. Right, so that's sorted. That can go back on the bike now. So it's exactly the same. It's the reverse of the procedure we've just done. Right, there's nothing really to watch out for on the front wheels. Just make sure that you get it centered and that you remember to put your quick release back on. If it's catching your brakes, it's probably not your brakes that are the problem, it's probably your wheel isn't in the forks properly. So just put the bike on the ground, make sure that it's sat under the quick release. You'll probably find it just clicks down on one side, do it back up again. It's notoriously bad trying to put a wheel back in when it's in the stand like it is behind me. You can never get it pulled up, so I always put them on, and before I send the bike on its way, I always undo the quick release, put it back on again, and I never center the brakes without doing that either, because it's more than likely it's the rim or the wheel that's not. So if they are catching, it's more than likely your rim's not actually in the dropouts or the forks properly. Right, so I'll get this back on, then we'll get the back wheel off and I'll show you how you deal with the derailleur. Right, back wheel. This looks a bit more daunting. So you've just had a major nightmare. In fact, actually, I do need to check this out. No, that's okay. I do need to check this out because I noticed it wasn't changing gear properly. So I'll just do a quick one on indexing. Right, I noticed this when I was testing it earlier. Right, I've moved it and it's just catching. Right, that's not indexing properly. If I give it another little tap, it'll start to go, right? So that's not right. I'm just going to give that 1, 2, 3. And we'll see how we go. There we go. It comes down now, because if you adjust it that way it might have a problem coming down now. There you go, spot on. So indexing, just imagine it's a screw, you're winding it out, it makes that tighter, it moves that across a bit further. So when I changed gear, it was just catching, it wasn't moving it up, so it just needed tightening up slightly. We'd moved it up. I had already checked the chain, and the chain's good. Seems we're doing 101. Where's it gone? How come I lose this thing regularly in here? It's always in the top, and I always manage to lose it. If I left it in the workshop. Oh, it's here. Must have fallen down. Sorry about that. Right, get yourself one of them. Right, they don't cost very much. 2-3 quid. That's a fat spanner. I think it cost me £4 or £5. Probably a bit more now because fat spanner are a bit of a brand now. It's got 2 settings on it. If that touches the chain on one but not on the other, it's time to change it. If it touches it on both of them, you're long past, right? So what you're looking for is that drops in and rests against the chain. This chain's fairly good. It's not even close to going through. So that chain's good. It's been well looked after, well maintained. You can see it's nice and clean. It's got oil on it. That's how it should be. So I know it's not the chain that was causing that. It was a badly indexed thing. I did change these about a year ago, so they've probably just stretched a little bit. So that's all it wanted. Just a little nick, just to tidy that up. Right then, what are we going to do? Get the back wheel off. So this is how you do it. Make sure you are in the bottom gear. So that's that one there. Right? You want as much chain as possible. So it's on the smallest cog at the back. Right, and you want it on the smallest cog at the front. Now this is a 3-speed, so it's got a granny gear. So do you know what? Put it in the granny gear, gives you even more room to play with. Don't make life hard for yourself. Right, so what do we need to do? We need to get the back wheel off. So what do? You undo the quick release. Don't forget your brakes. Brakes are up there, exactly the same again. Undo that. Make sure there's enough clearance. Those brake pads are absolutely mullered. We're going to swap them as well at the same time. So undo this. Again, that's a little bit tight, so it just drops down. Right, the easiest way I found to do this is you can either whack it, give it a quick smack, because there'll be a point where it rocks on the frame in there, but it hasn't cleared the derailleur. Or just grab hold of the derailleur cage at the bottom. Right, can you see that? Grab hold of the derailleur cage at the bottom and just pull the derailleur back and out of the way. Right? Right, I haven't got that much muck on my hands because the outside of the derailleur's fairly clean. That derailleur could do with cleaning. Right, we've got the wheel off. That wasn't so scary, was it? There's lots of gears in that there. It's not a problem. If you're at the side of the road, all you need to do is just hold up the back of the bike, undo the thing, grab hold of that. The wheel will probably fall out, or get somebody else to hold the bike for you. Or do you know what? Just turn the bike upside down. You'll get it out. Same thing again, just pull that and out. Because it's on the smallest cog there, it actually means you haven't got to get the chain all the way from there down to there, right? The chain's there, so you've only got to get the chain from there to get the wheel out, right? When you put it back in as well, it's a lot easier because I've got to get the chain on there instead of there, right? Just a lot easier. And there's less chain and everything. So that's off. That was easy. There's no recesses on these, right? So, I don't know why they haven't have it on the front. I suspect it's because your weight's on the saddle and you could be pulling a wheelie and your wheel comes off. Because everybody does wheelies all the time on road bikes. But anyway, again, just check your bearings. Do it on the clean side. They feel okay. There's a little bit of notchiness starting. There's a little bit of movement on the axle. But again, these are sealed bearings, so just run them until they're knackered. If they are loose bearings, cup and cone, as soon as you feel graunchiness, you need to get them cleaned out, get some fresh grease in there, inspect the races, because if you leave it too long and your balls are knackered or your cones are knackered and you knacker your cup in the thing, it could be you're looking at a new wheel, right? Because you can't replace all the cups in all the hubs, right? You can, if you're lucky, you've seen it on some of the other videos, I have managed to source cones to replace the cone, and it is nearly always the cone that goes. But if the cup's gone, you're buggered. Right, so let's go over to the bench. Boom, back. I hope that recorded. That's got a really short valve in it, that. Never mind. We can live. I do need to buy some more inner tubes. So again, make sure that's undone before it goes all the way down. You can't see what I'm doing. Move you back a bit further, that might help. All right. So we're flat as a pancake now. Just loosen it off the rim again. So this is the other type you can get. Now a lot of the riders, athletes that are struggling with tie levers and things have been going to these. They do work quite well, and I've got this mainly for getting tubeless off, because they are really good at getting tubeless off. only I can't get this one under for some reason. Why won't that go under? Come on. Have I got all the air out? Yeah, we got all the air out. It doesn't help I'm doing this against where I'd normally be doing it. So this is a tyre glider. You only need one of these, and all you do is you get it underneath your bead. Only these tyres, because they're so tough on the sidewall, it's quite difficult to get it into the bead. They don't generally want to play very nicely. Let's see if I can swing that out of the way. Oh, that might help. Nope. I'm not selling these, am I? You watch them on the video and they make short work of getting a difficult tyre off. Once you get it under the bead, they do work very well, I'll tell you that now. Right, that's it, it's under the bead now. So you have to lift the bead up, sort of spoon it in under, and then once it's under, you just pull it down like that. Now I'll give you the tip with these, is just push them a little bit further, right? And then what you're going to do, I'll try and do it so you can see what I'm up to, is you push it. So you just push it round. Except I'm doing this the wrong way round. It's keg-handed for me, this. Like I said, I'm doing this the wrong way round. I'm not going to get that under the rim now. Let me start again. Let me get it back under the rim the right way round so I can get it off. Right, back again. Got it the right way round. I've lifted it up so I can do its thing. So it is fairly awkward, but once you get it started, it zips them off quite quickly. You have got to make sure you don't get it caught behind the inner tube though. And I've noticed one thing, I'm heading towards the valve there, which probably wasn't, again, the best place to start this. So let's see if we can go the other way round. That's it, right. So you slide it off. So we can get this past the valve. There we go, it's going now. Now, with normal tyres, I think the tyre levers are probably your best option, but I know there's some people who really struggle with tyre levers. I do think this inner tube might be stuck to the tyre though. Because I'm definitely hitting inner tube here. Right, so the reason we swapped this one out is you can see that's the reinforcing strands from the rim. Once you get it so far, you can get your fingers in there. I do think the inner tube is stuck to the tyre of this one, which is why I'm having a few issues with it. So that's nothing else, and it's covered in brake dust. Same thing again, just push that out of the way. Get the inner tube out, and it is stuck to the rim, so I think we will be having to have a look, see if we can find another inner tube, or at least dust this one up with some talcum powder. Actually, it looks a slightly wrong sized inner tube, that. Right, let's see what's going on with that. You see there's lots and lots of rubber there. I think this inner tube is the wrong size for this. Yeah, it's even had a fold in it. I think this is a mountain bike inner tube from a 29. So if we can find a size on it. Should be a size written on it somewhere. Oh, right, yes, this is the wrong size. So this is a mountain bike, 1 1/4 inch, or a 28-38, and this is going on a 25. So that inner tube will not fit in there. So we'll have to have a look in the stash and see if I've got another inner tube for that. Bear with me. Right, it's Anne's lucky day. So I did say I thought that this looked like it was the wrong, it was too small for the thing, because these do have a profile on, so they need to be a longer one. Now I ride a similar profile on my old winter tyres, so I had these. So this is, and the bonus is, these are the right ones for a 25, and the Dr. Sludge ones as well, so they have got some slime in. So that's even better for a, so we'll stick that in. I wouldn't, the only thing I'm wary of is that if she has a puncture, she's going to have to swap an inner tube, but she should have an inner tube anyway. And I'll be honest, most people don't even bother trying to fix things. I do have another one, but it's a special one for using with tubeless. There's a Vittora there. What's that one? No, she can have the Dr. Sludge. I don't use them anyway, so we might as well stick that in. I won't charge her for it. She can have it. Freebie. Right, so again, just stick it in. After you put a bit of air in it. Spin, spin, spin. There we go. Oh. Come on, Toller, get a grip. You're supposed to be taking that wet tyre off. Right, so this one, oh, that's a folding tyre as well. Same thing again, direction of travels that way round. Direction of travels that way round. So we're going to stick it on the rim. Again, you can see how easy these go on when it's just dropping it onto the rim. There you go, that's in. Holes there. Oops, sorry about that, card full this time. Right, where were we? We were trying to muller this in a tube. Right, so again we're down to this last. Why has that not come on? Where are you on? I just can't see that you're on. You're on. And we're recording. Try and do this so you can see it again. So I'm just going to wriggle this all the way round. Wriggle, 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 wriggle. Right, tyre glide. This is how this works. So it has a hook on it as well. You put that hook into the rim and the hook catches into the bead. Right, and then all you do is you just make sure that that front nose of it ends up underneath the bead there, and if you shove it round, it should just go in. There you go. Now this is where they are worth their weight in gold. When you're stood at the side of the road and your hands are cold and you can't squeeze it and you can't roll it, that's just saved you a world of pain. So there you go. Again, just send that up. Now this one, because it's a sludge tyre, does have a removable core. So I'm just going to find my core remover. And we'll take the core out. The valve's probably okay. It's probably just got a load of muck on it. So all you do is use your core remover and do this. But if you're not running tubeless or sludge, you won't have this issue. So I'm just going to clean that out. Essentially the sludge has fibrous particles in it, and they clog up around the seat of the valve, but because they've got to put the sludge in there somewhere, these actually have a removable core. So there you go. Just do that up. That's moving a lot better. Right, I'll just pump this up and we'll see if it fits. Slight drama, the valve was knackered, so I've just replaced it with a brand new one. It's fine now. Even when you screwed that up, it was leaking. I've just put a new one in there. That's fine. No issues at all. Just needs its cap on it. We're up to pressure. Just going to get a quick spin. You don't need to hold on to the axle, just hold on to your quick release skewer so you don't get your fingers mucky. And that's okay. It's giving a bit of an up and down because of the slime in it, but that's spot on, so we can stick this one on the bike. Boom, back in the room. Right, we've just got to stick some brake pads on. Oops. Not them. So £7.99, £8, brand new, spanking, genuine Shimano. I buy the newer Eco ones because they come in a cardboard box, and you also get a screw with them, which you don't get with the other one. So, brake pads. Yeah, I know my hands are mucky, but it's not grease, it's brake dust. So we've just got to undo this little screw, and we're just going to hope that they're not seized up. They're not. Don't think you need to undo them all the way. That's it, one's out. Don't need to do anything more with these. They should just, hopefully, just switch over. Hopefully the brakes were set up properly in the first place. There you go, you see how bald they are compared to the originals. I did check the front ones, they've still got a bit of life left in them. I don't know if you can see that. Come on, focus. These Canons are absolutely shocking at focusing. Yeah, they're mullered. They're actually worse than I thought they were. The front ones are okay. The front ones will probably need doing next year, but they've still got life in them. There's no point taking them off if they're a bike. Probably a bike shop would, and you know what? I wouldn't if it was mine. To be honest, there's plenty of life left in them. You spend all your time just replacing parts for no reason, and you probably end up buying about 4 or 5 more brake pads. Okay, it's brake pads, they are important, but do you know what? There's loads of life. And when you see how flat these are compared to the ones at the front, and I bet the brakes are working fine, they wouldn't have even noticed. All right, again, these don't need to be massively tightened up. They're not going to come undone. Make sure the screws are at the back of the direction of travel, because otherwise if they were on the other way round, all the braking force is against the screw, whereas the braking force is against the cup at the front. That's all it is with these. So again, we're going to need to wind these back in significantly. Now, depending on if anybody's changed the cable, these might not fit past the thing. So same thing again in reverse. Get it to, no, we're in about the right place. So we just got to get that up, hook it onto the gear that you know it was in, if you can remember, and there you go, straight in. Just drop straight in. These should do straight up because we know we've got it up in the air, it's more than likely these aren't quite in the right place. We're just going to drop it on the floor, let them go. You can put that down, and you can tell it's not centered right because it's catching on the brakes, and there's quite a big gap there anyway. So we just need to drop it down, and we'll center that up. I mean, it might do it now if well, then again, it might not. But anyway, we'll drop it on the floor, we'll get them done, and it'll be fine, right? Oh, there you go. We'll just check that they are. Yep, they're catching beautifully. Lovely. Nice and tight. Wheels on. Tyres running nice and smooth. A little bit of drag. I will adjust the wheel. We will get the wheel off and just check it. There's a slight movement in the wheel, but it's not anything worth treeing up about. So there you go. I hope that was useful. There's some really basic stuff there for you. If I get a puncture, I'll show you how to fix them, but to be honest, the instructions on the kit, and if you're not that confident with doing, just make sure you carry inner tubes. Inner tubes are really cheap. And okay, have a little thing with your patches in, your scabs, and they're really simple. They're not the scabs are quite simple now. You just get a piece of sandpaper, you find the hole, draw a bit of chalk around it or put your finger on it, get a bit of sandpaper, just score up the area around it, get your scab, stick your scab on, make sure you roll it around with your finger, make sure the inner tube's dry before you do that. Put it in, put a very little bit of air in it, the same way as I did. Get it all seated, then blow it up, and what you'll find is the scab, as soon as it hits the side of the tyre will actually keep the scab in place anyway. So there, that's it, job's a good one. So hopefully that helps somebody. Remember, like and subscribe. Let us know if these videos have been helpful. It's a really basic one, but I sometimes disappear off into this is interesting, or you know, the pedal arms aren't supposed to look like that, or here's something new we've not done before, and you forget there's a lot of people out there that don't know how to do the basics. So you know, this is the basics. You know, at the side of the road, that's how you take a wheel off, that's how you get your tyre off, right? I've not done it in a stand. The tyre part, it's all done at the side of the road. I've had to do it up on a bench, and that actually made it harder. You know, sit on the floor, you know, and just do it however feels comfortable. Lean over it, get some leverage on it. Just make sure you've got a decent set of tyre levers. If you're going to take one of those tyre glides, make sure you know how to use it, because I actually find them quite difficult. It's only in my kit bag for my tubeless tyres, because I know that the tubeless tyres are a pig to get over the rim, right? But to be honest, the only time I'm going to use it is if I've put an inner tube in my tubeless tyre, because I'll be honest, 9 times out of 10, if I've lost the tyre, it's come off the rim and I'm at the point where I'm putting a tube in, I'm probably going to be phoning for a pickup, or I'm going to try plugging the hole and then re-inflating it, rather than going, I'm only going to be going for an inner tube as a last resort, to be honest. Anyway, right, enough waffle. An interesting bike. Let me know if you've got a Saab, because a Saab, I've never seen them. I've only ever seen Anne's bike. I just found it was quite amusing. I got the kit and it was my favourite kit. So there you go. Job's a good one. Don't forget to like and subscribe.